Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the match preview for Chelsea versus Man United. First things first, guys, smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. And tomorrow evening, Stamford Bridge, it's the big one. Man United coming to town. Mason Mount returns. Chelsea, shocking record against United, haven't beaten them since 2017 in the league, and our only win against them since 2017 was a 3-1 win in the FA Cup semi-final in 2020. So the record is dreadful. We desperately need the points, massively need the points. It's a huge game following the disappointing 2-2 draw with Burnley. We have to respond with a win. United's away record is dreadful under Ten Hag, but for whatever reason, whatever happens, doesn't matter how badly they're playing, they somehow seem to find a way to turn into some sort of prime Barcelona whenever they play us. Generally speaking, it tends to be a draw more often than not at Stamford Bridge, but yeah, I can't say I head into this one with a great deal of confidence. You know, the trip to Old Trafford earlier in the season still fresh in my mind. You know, we were heading there on the back of some good form. United were not in good form, and we turned up and, well, we didn't really turn up. We put in an absolutely dreadful performance and made United look like some sort of world beaters. And we absolutely have to hope that that isn't going to be the case tomorrow. But there's loads and loads to dive into, guys, in this preview. But there's only one place to start, and it's not to do with the match, but it's to do with Conor Gallagher. And the fact that the club have had to put out a statement about this just sums up the ridiculousness of the whole situation. Obviously, there's the clip circulating on social media, taken out of context, of Gallagher ignoring a black mascot who had his arm outstretched, and then it's led to him coming in for heavy criticism and being labelled as a racist, which is just utter nonsense. But Chelsea have released a statement on this, stating that Chelsea Football Club is aware of a video clip circulating on social media from Saturday's fixture against Burnley, which has been taken considerably out of context. The subsequent level of abuse and defamatory comments directed towards Conor Gallagher is completely unacceptable. We are proud to be a diverse, inclusive club where people from all cultures, communities, and identities feel welcome. I don't know where to start with this. You know, if you genuinely think Conor Gallagher deliberately ignored a mascot, you are a complete and utter moron. It is absolutely absurd that this fake row has caused Chelsea to have to release a statement and then for Pochettino to come out and defend Gallagher in the pre-match press conference. And the majority of the time, Twitter is, and social media in general, just a complete den of idiocy. Yes, there are some good things and there are some good people, but generally speaking, it's just full of absolute idiots. And this is the latest example of that. You know, Gallagher, it's clear that he's a good person. You know, he saw his former teammate Josh Cullen in the tunnel, and he obviously left the kid hanging. No big deal. He embraces him afterwards, which the clip conveniently leaves out. And it makes a complete mockery of a serious societal problem to hijack this clip and label him as racist. It's just a complete and utter joke. It's come from people who are just sad, no life, feeling sorry for themselves, who are just sat in their bedrooms with nothing better to do with their lives, hiding behind profile pictures of footballers, can't even show their face themselves. And yeah, this is the problem with society nowadays. It really is a real shame. You know, and do you know what? It's Gallagher at the moment. It was Mason Mount before. It was Chalobah before that. It was Tammy Abraham before that. This trend of abusing homegrown players has been going on for years now, and I don't understand why. I mean, I can't think of a fan base that abuses their own players more, particularly homegrown ones, than Chelsea fans. You know, I say fans loosely. Any Chelsea fans associated and involved with, you know, labeling Conor Gallagher as a racist or whatnot, or painting him in a bad light, are no fans of the football club that I love and that I support. Absolutely just isn't the case. So yeah, I mean, that was an interesting one. I guess it's good that they addressed it, but yeah, it's staggering that it's had to do that. And it's great that, you know, defending Conor against the worst parts of the cesspit that is Twitter, that has for far too long abused players, made up deranged claims against them, and created whole accounts to spread toxicity. Social media companies have got to do better. People need to do better. And Gallagher, as well as other footballers, should not have their character defamed and dragged through the mud through just ridiculous false claims. And people are just going to get away with it with no consequences. That cannot be allowed to continue. But moving away from the Conor Gallagher situation, we have had better news on the injury front. No new players added to the injury list. That is quite something for Chelsea on a game-to-game basis, that no one new has been added to the injury list. And we've actually getting players back. Chalobah's back in team training, as is Chukwuemeka, as is Malo Gusto, as is Robert Sanchez. Obviously, we're still without Levi Colwill, Wesley Fofana, Reece James, Lavia, and Kunku and Ugochukwu. And Ben Chilwell will be missing due to the fact that he is ill. So he is definitely confirmed as out of tomorrow's match. Gusto and Chalobah will be in the squad. There wasn't anything said about Chukwuemeka. I presume he will be in the squad, but I don't know for certain if it remains to be seen if Chukwuemeka will be involved or not. No questions were asked to Pochettino about Chukwuemeka in the press conference. So hopefully he'll be involved in the squad and maybe he will play some part on the bench, but highly unlikely that he will start this game. But it's good to see that the injury list is shortening. Levi Colwill reportedly has been playing through an injury. That he actually suffered against Crystal Palace, but also played in the Carabao Cup final. Not great to be hearing that, but hopefully he's targeting a return in a month's time for the FA Cup. Towards the end of this month for the FA Cup semi-final against Man City. So again, this injury a lot longer than first feared. It was described as minor by Pochettino at the time, and he's going to end up missing about 6 weeks. So maybe that is minor for Chelsea. Who knows at this point in time? But we did actually get an update on Christopher Nkunku, with Pochettino having said initially he might be out for around 3 to 4 weeks. 6.5 weeks have passed, and Poch has revealed that he's not sure if Nkunku will actually play any further part this season. You really couldn't make this up. Really couldn't make it up. I mean, I don't understand what's going on with him. But he said that at the moment he's not training with us. There's been no setback. He's recovering, and it is taking longer than we expected. He played in the League Cup final, and we found out that there was a problem. We hope he can be involved again as soon as possible. Just at this point, I would just write Nkunku. I've already written off Nkunku for this season, as in I don't think he's going to play any further part. Focus on getting fit, recover, and come back for pre-season and make sure you hit next season running. He's made 10 appearances this season, scored a couple of goals. It's been an absolute disaster. Just have to put this one behind us. I think it's a real shame because I think he's a quality player and people have forgotten how good a player he actually is due to these injury issues. But yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. We don't really miss him because we haven't had him and he's not contributed anything to the team. But as an option, it would be great to have him, but we don't. Focus on your recovery, get back for pre-season, and then really hit it next season and hope that these injury issues are put behind him, because he really, like a lot of players, desperately needs an injury-free campaign next season so we can really see his abilities and why we spent £52 million to bring him in from RB Leipzig. But it is nice to get an update on Nkunku, even if it's not particularly positive. But let's turn more towards the game itself at this point. And as I referenced earlier, Chelsea's record against Man United is absolutely shocking. One win against them we haven't beaten them in the league since 2017, and we've beaten them once in the FA Cup semi-final in 2020. I don't know what's going on there. It is 6th versus 12th in the Premier League. But somehow, despite our best efforts, we do still have a chance of finishing in 6th place, qualifying for the Europa League. But it does require us to win against United tomorrow night. We must beat them tomorrow night. We need to beat them tomorrow night, considering the draw we had against Burnley. And a win tomorrow night, I mean, sadly, we have dropped to 12th following Bournemouth's win last night. But a win tomorrow night would put us 5 points behind United with a game in hand. So if we can beat United tomorrow and win the game in hand, we'd be 2 points off 6th place. I appreciate those are two big ifs, but it is still in our control. It is still in our hands. We've got games against West Ham still. We've got games against Brighton still. We've got games against Tottenham to come still. We've still got to play Aston Villa. We've got a lot of games against a lot of teams that are above us. And, if we can somehow find a run and put a run together, which admittedly does seem unlikely based on the evidence this season, there is still an outside chance. And we do still have stuff to play for over the course of these last 10 games, plus the FA Cup. So remarkably, I can't quite believe it. We're still in with a chance, but this is where we're at. And tomorrow night's going to be an interesting one. Mason Mount returning to Stamford Bridge. He's not going to get a good reception. I personally won't be booing him because that's not what I do, but I can understand why people would. Of course, there's always two sides to every story. And maybe at some point we will get Mount's side of the story of what happened. I think it's clear that a lot of Chelsea fans feel that he left for financial reasons. Mount feels that he was forced out of the club from those above. I think it's probably a combination of the two, but people have picked a story that suits their narrative and they've stuck with it. And it's kind of a shame how things have transpired. But anyway, it's just typical, isn't it, that he's been out with injury for the majority of the season, but he returns to fitness, returns to goal scoring form just in time for a trip to Stamford Bridge. And, knowing our luck, you really wouldn't bet against him either scoring or being involved in some of the game's key moments. What's really alarming, not just our record against United, but the fact that we haven't beaten a traditional top six side at home for 800 days. This is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Our last win against a traditional Big Six side was in January 2022 against Tottenham. We haven't beaten Man United at home since November 2017, 2,341 days. It's quite staggering. It is unbelievable, really, when you think about it. I don't know how we've managed that, how that's a thing, but it is. And that record has got to change tomorrow. It simply has to. United are there to be got at. They're not playing well this season, despite the fact they're in the top six. They're not playing well. They've been relying on moments of individual brilliance and luck, to be perfectly honest. You can get at them. The midfield's non-existent at times. They're not great defensively. They concede a lot of chances. They allow opposition to have a lot of shots on goal. And we've got to take advantage of that. We just need to turn up and we need to go for it. It was a really good press conference from Pochettino today. He talked about standards that need to be adhered to. He talked of Chelsea needing to actually be up for not just the games against the big teams, but the games against all sides. He described us as he said that we can't be an exhibitionist side. It was one of his best press conferences today. Taking responsibility, defending Gallagher from the social media nonsense, and stating the standards that are required. Now the team needs to perform. He said we cannot be an exhibition team. We need to compete. We need to run and chase the Burnley player like they are a Man United or a Real Madrid player. And that's what we need to do. We can't have that level of complacency. I think United will approach this one with, they'll have a go. They won't just sit behind the ball. They'll look to play on the counter-attack like they always do. Quick players like Garnacho, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes is always dangerous. Højlund has found his goal-scoring touch. Kobbie Mainoo is an exceptional talent, but that midfield's there to be got at. If it's Mainoo, McTominay, and Bruno, then it's just going to be Mainoo on his own because McTominay and Fernandes just bomb forward and don't offer much defensive contributions. Casemiro, if he's fit, will obviously play and is a quality operator and will add some steel to that midfield. But United are absolutely there for the taking, just like they were at Old Trafford, and we couldn't take advantage. It's absolutely crucial that we do take advantage. A lot is going to rely on Cole Palmer. Everything good goes through him. It's going to be a big night for Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. We've got to try and defend better. We have to try and defend better. Is that likely? I really don't know, but we cannot afford to have another game where we concede another 2 goals. Otherwise, we can just completely forget it. I think we can cause some problems with Palmer, with Mudryk, with Nicholas Jackson. We've got pacey players, guys that run channels, take players on. United haven't got the most pace in defence, and they can absolutely be got at. And Onana, we know, has got a mistake in him. Yes, he's improved, but there is absolutely a mistake in there. So this game is there for the taking, and we've just got to grab it by the scruff of the neck and make the absolute most of it. But can we do that? I really don't know. It's going to be an interesting affair, that's for sure. But Chelsea have to win this. I said, when this run of 4 games started, Burnley, Man United, Sheffield United, and Everton, we needed a minimum of 10 points. The draw against Burnley means that we need to win the next 3. Can we do that? I'm really not sure. But in terms of, team lineup, I think the team pretty much, most of it picks itself. But this is the 11 that I would be going with. Obviously, Petrovic in goal. Even though Sanchez is fit again, Petrovic is the clear number 1. Malo Gusto, barring any injuries he suffers tomorrow morning, I better not say that because it might happen, will certainly play. I'll have Gusto at right back. Obviously, Cucurella is going to continue at left back as Chilwell is out with illness. Disasi will play at the back. And it's going to be interesting. Will he bring Chalobah back in? Will Silva come in? Or will he stick with Badiashile? For me personally, I like to have continuity at the back, and I would be sticking with Badiashile. The fact that Silva didn't come in for the game against Burnley would suggest that it's highly unlikely that he comes in for this one. So I'd be sticking with Disasi and Badiashile. In midfield, it's going to be Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. Again, a huge game for these two up against the likes of Mainu, Casemiro, and whatnot. It's going to be a really interesting battle in the centre of the park. That backline is going to need to push up with the pace of Badiashile and whatnot to make sure there's not a big gap between midfield and defence, because United have got the pacey players with the likes of Garnacho who can, cause problems and get in behind if we leave too much space. So it's important that there's not too much space left between the defence and the midfields. They're going to have to operate as a tight unit together. We know that Cole Palmer is obviously going to play on the right-hand side. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. And in terms of who I'd play in the number 10 position, obviously we know full well it's going to be Conor Gallagher. But for me personally, I think this game we need to go for it. We're at home. We've only lost once at home since October. We need to win this game. I'll be looking to get as many attacking players on the pitch as he possibly can. And for all Gallagher's qualities, he doesn't have the intricacies of a natural attacking player. And for me, I'd be playing Mykhailo Mudryk in that number 10 role. I think he's growing in confidence. I think he's done really well recently. He gets him on the ball more. He makes things happen. He's exciting. And I'll be playing him in that 10 role. And I would also be having Noni Madueke on the left-hand side, just hitting them with pace, unpredictability, trickery. I understand probably that Raheem Sterling will start this game because of the experience. Hopefully he doesn't. But I think this is a young, exciting front three behind Nicholas Jackson, who again I think can cause problems by running channels, dragging defenders out of position to allow the likes of Palmer, Mudryk, and Madueke to get into those pockets of space that Jackson creates through the hard work that he does off the ball. That is the lineup that I would go with. Again, whether Pochettino does that, I think is highly unlikely. Whether you guys agree with me, again, is potentially unlikely as well. But I think Gallagher could definitely be used on the bench in this game for the last half hour, 20 minutes, inject some fresh legs, some energy, some intensity, some pressing, against a tiring side that can really be of advantage to us. So, yeah, that's the lineup that I'd go with. And that's the lineup that I think can absolutely give us the best chance of picking up a much needed 3 points. But in terms of a score prediction, guys, it's really tough. I mean, I'd love to sit here and say with confidence that we're going to win this game, but I personally just don't see that happening. I mean, to be honest, I believe it's going to be a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't see us being defensively solid enough to keep United out, but I also don't think they're good enough to keep us out either. So I think we will get on the score sheet, but I think ultimately it's going to be a 1-1 draw, which doesn't really suit either side. I think for the aspirations that us and United have got, one team needs to get the win here. They're going to fulfill their objectives this season with the games dwindling down. So yeah, for me, 1-1 draw. But yeah, guys, let me know your score predictions in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you watched to the end, big yourself up, smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you again in another video soon. Up the Chelsea and peace out.